Okay, Emanuele, so tell me something about your restaurant and your career, actually. Where did you start? Um, when did you open your restaurant?
Well, when did I start? I started about 32 years ago. Um, well, let's say that I started 30 years ago because 32 is too complicated. But I mean, I started 30 years ago in Switzerland, and I was in Switzerland for about 10 years. I started in Lugano, then I went to Stade, St. Moritz. I was all over the place. I was all
Hmm.
over the place until 2004 when I decided for my career to go to work in a cruise ship, in a cruise line in the Caribbean. And then that was 2000 end of 2004, 2005. Then after that, I came back. I stayed. I stayed home. I was working at the Palace Hotel in Varese for about
Okay.
6, 7 months until when I decided on February 1st to take a chance and come to United States.
All right.
And since then, everything is a history. The reason why I opened a restaurant, uh, my I opened other restaurant before.
Mhm.
But I opened a restaurant for other people, and
Okay,
I
so you worked as manager also, let's say.
yes, I work as manager, also director of operation.
Mm.
And then finally last year, uh, a spot came available, I should say, and and we took the chance. So and now we're still there 7 months later. So
That's great. That's great. So where are you from in Italy also? Because we haven't said anything about
I'm
that.
from Varese,
Mm-hmm. And where
half
does
an hour,
your
45 minutes north of Milano for the people who doesn't know.
yeah, right.
Mhm.
You're right, because no one uh
Yeah.
but and where does your adventure with food begin? How old were
But
you when you started having this passion?
well, let's say that uh, I was kind of forced. Let's go back 32 years ago when I decided to quit school because I wasn't good at all. And my mother, she told me, "That's great. Now you go to work," and you found a job. So I found a job in a small restaurant pizzeria near my house, and it was good because I was working at night, something then, I was a 16, 15, 16. And back then, there's no way that you can stay out late at night, but I was working.
Ah,
So my
right.
parents, they didn't have any problems, so let me out at night because I was working and I was down the street from home. And that's where everything started. To me, everything started as as fun, as a joke. So that was that was an opportunity for me to stay. Not that I was mistreated at home or anything like that. I don't want people to think like that, but it was an opportunity to stay out, to live a
Yeah, to
different
learn
life.
experience.
Yeah, and then in 1993, uh, through my through one of my father's friends, I had the opportunity to start to working at the Palace Hotel in Varese,
Mhm.
which that's the place that I considering home because anytime I need to work in between one season and the other one, I always used to go back over there. They used to
That's
rehire me.
great.
Yep. So that's the place that I consider home.
Mhm.
So I started over there in 1993 as what they call in Europe commis rang, which is the very bottom of the pyramid, and uh, and then I worked my way up, and so that's where everything started. Then in September of 1993, there was a gentleman, then an Italian gentleman. Then I don't know if he's still, but back then he used to own a restaurant in United Kingdom, in
Okay.
England, and he needed two person, one in the front of the house and one in the back of the house. Then I was excited. I went home. I told my mother. She sat on a chair. She started to cry, and she said, "If you want to go, you can go." And that's where
Of
everything
course.
started. So basically, yeah, I was 16 and I left. I went to England. It didn't last
Okay.
longer because I was young. I was I don't want to say immature, but it was totally different. I was living by myself for the very first time, and it was a great experience. It was a
Hmm.
great experience. It lasted 3 months. I came back after 3 months, but I was very satisfied, and I stay I stayed at home for about another year. always at the Palace Hotel, back and forth. Like I said, that's my home, back and forth until 1995 when I remember there was a Christmas in February. There was a Christmas party from this place in Lugano, one of the
Mm-hmm.
most beautiful, uh, one of the most beautiful hotel in the world, I believe. Um, Villa Principe Leopoldo. They came and they had the Christmas party in February, like any other restaurant or hotel that have it in February.
Okay.
And I took a chance. I talked to one of the restaurant manager, or what they're calling in Euro Metro Hotel, and I asked her for a job, and they said, "Yeah, the season started in May," and they sent me all the paperwork, and that's where I started. So then I was doing summer season, winter season up in the center Switzerland, in Stade, St. Moritz. In 1999, I had a chance to go to work in South France for 9 months for the summer season. Then I went back in Switzerland for the winter. And then in 2001, I went to work in Sardinia, in Costa Smeralda for the summer season. And then
Wow.
I came back to Switzerland again. No, and then I went back to Palace, yeah, in Varese
Your
after
home.
my home, yeah,
Mhm.
until when I found again another job in Switzerland. So as far as paperwork are concerned, I had uh, I had one of those year-round visa to work in Switzerland, so I
Mhm.
could stop and go anytime I wanted. So that was my deal.
Well, so a great experience
Yeah.
all over the places. We can say that the first turning point was quitting school. Not that we are
Yeah,
suggesting
please don't tell
that.
anybody that quitting school is a good thing. Please, I don't want to
No,
be in an advocacy or dropping school, but it
not
worked out
nowadays,
for
at
me. That
least.
does not mean,
You know,
yeah,
it's not a suggestion, but for
yeah,
you, actually, it changed everything. And
correct,
yeah, also UK probably was another turning point. So you went abroad, and as you said, you were living the first time by yourself in another country. So with another language, of course, learning another way of working. So that's
correct.
experience, and that's great. So how during your career,
Yeah.
how hard, what are the challenges you are facing now, and what have been the challenges you have been facing in the past during your career? It also focusing on how important it is to maintain Italian traditions, which in USA, I mean, must be very hard for very, several points of view.
I don't think then, I don't, so uh, just to go back to the beginning of your question, I don't think the challenge that I face through my career, I don't really know what, I never seen that as a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing my job. I was going to work every day. I was trying to do my best every day. I never took that as a challenge. The challenge start to became when let's start to say this one. There are two different world, Europe and United States, two
Yes.
different world, the two different type of world of hospitality industry.
Mm-hmm.
Europe is very, very based on the service. As we know, service in Europe is more as a career.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, service industry in United States is not much as a career. People do it because they have to earn some money during school. People do it because it's an easy way to make some money, and then at that point, people stay because it's you get into that kind of circle where it's hard to uh, punch out and go and
Mm-hmm.
try to do another job where you have to start from the bottom again. The money that we earn in United States doing in the hospitality industry, and mostly being in the front of the house, it's very let's say it's very lucrative. And when you have to go back to a normal 9 to 5 job, it's very hard to go back and
Oh, yeah.
restart all over again. Um, that was the biggest challenge when you learn something in Europe. You've been forced to learn something, and you come over here and you realize that the service that you have is not the same than you try to than you learned before. That I think it was my biggest challenge. Uh, right now. by having my own place, by having my own restaurant, I can apply uh, I can apply what I learned in Europe
Your own
before,
rules.
and but it's still a challenge because you have to training your staff the way you want it. And some of that they don't realize, they don't understand why. But I can tell you that when you arrive at the point, then you actually have that type of service and you deliver that type of service. You are in a different level
Hmm.
of service industry here in the United States. Obviously, when you go back to Europe, it's different. It's totally different because it's a normal footprint in Europe. Over here, it's different. So that's uh that's the biggest challenge if you want to look at it that way.
You have to adapt to different industry, but I think, as you said, it's gonna distinguish you from the rest, maybe, no? To have
Correct.
a total experience like the one we are used to have.
Yeah.
And also, it's a challenge to be able to give your knowledge to the people that are working with you. Uh, More than a challenge, it's a lot of work, I think, because they think maybe differently, they have a different way of working. But it's also satisfying, I guess, when you can create that experience. You say, okay, they
Yeah,
finally,
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. It's satisfying. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. You know, then you accomplished something. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And is there a point of your career where you felt rewarded? Like, this is one of those moments that I really feel like I accomplished something great.
Every day, every day when you lock the door and you go home, uh, you look at behind and you look at if it's a positive day. Is the accomplishment it comes at the end. Is not an accomplishment on a daily basis, but when you do something positive, when you know that you have the right people, when you know that you can take a day off and you don't have any what they're calling here FOMO, fear of missing out. That's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
That's something then. Yeah, all right. Today I did something good. I know that my staff is well prepared so they can actually work without me.
Hmm.
But in the other hand, there's also those days where uh, that's the other way around, where something goes wrong and you still have a phone call after phone call. And even for, I don't want to say, but even for minimal or small thing, they call you, and it's more common sense.
Hmm.
Obviously, those days they're very minimum. There's no many of those days, but there are those days. But it's a live and learn. Every day is a different challenge. So
Mhm. It's part of the journey, yes. So now, speaking of your restaurant,
yes.
describe what's the philosophy with which you carry on your activity, and describe us also how is your restaurant, um, how's the menu in your restaurant, what are you focusing on, and what are your flagships?
Well, um, I try or we try every day to deliver a real Italian food, but you also need to understand the demographic that you work in. So where I am, I'm in a suburban of suburban. There's a there's another factor that you have to put in consideration, which is the fact that uh, people where I don't work with tourists. I don't have a tourist. So where I am, again, it's the very deep inside of, even if it's on the East Coast and we are on the ocean and blah blah blah, we are inside of the real what I call a real America.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's no Italian people coming in my restaurant as far as tourists. Tourists they go to Newport, tourists they go to Boston, they go to New York. So I do have the real American people, the real people that they consider themselves Italian because they are the third or the fourth generation. Most of the immigrant than America, as far as Italian immigrant, then they used to come from the south of Italy. All right. So these people brought in America or in this part of the country a different type of food than I grew up with. Okay,
Of course, yes.
correct. So now, 150 years later, 100 years later, we still have an evolution of that food that people brought over. Okay,
Of course. Hmm.
and that's what the people they are used to. Okay, for example, I never knew that there was something called chicken parmigiana when I was in Italy or when I was in Europe. I never heard any such a thing like that, right?
Okay.
Also, of course, I do have the duck breast on the menu. Of course, I do have the filet mignon rossini on the menu. Of course, I do have the lasagna. Of course, I do have the uh, parmigiana melanzane, but I also have
Okay.
those kind of food that my guests ask me for.
Hmm.
Okay, and but even talking to a new generation, I do have a lot of friends in Boston. Then they are right from Italy. Okay, and they are from the south, who from Naples, or who's from Sicily. They're a big new wave of immigration from the south, and they come over here. And even talking to them, we talk about the food. They never heard about the scungilli salad or the snail salad. They don't even know what it is. But that's what the Americanized, the Italian American people are looking for. Okay, for Christmas, everybody wants the famous seven fishes. And I never heard anything like that, like the seven fishes. And I asked the people from the South, and I said, we never do seven fishes. Definitely, we celebrate Christmas on New Year's Eve, while from where I'm from, we celebrate Christmas on New Year's Day. But the Americans over here, they go with the seven fish. They all eat fish on Christmas Eve. I don't know. It's an epitome of fish on Christmas Eve. All right. They want that, and I'm gonna give them. I'm sure that every other restaurant in Rhode Island or in United States, then they are not in a tourist area. They facing the same challenge. Okay,
Hmm. So you
because
believe
you
the problem is that you're living in the deep America, as you said, not in a tourist
correct,
area.
correct,
Mhm.
correct. When I tell people this is the real America, or Italian people, I will say, listen, United States is not New York, is not Miami, is not Chicago, is not Los Angeles. Okay, it's
Mhm.
not even Boston. The real America is this one where I live right now. Try to go in the deepest south of Texas, and that's where you're gonna find the real America. Go inside, and don't get me wrong, United States, I love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah, it is.
country to
Mhm.
to visit, and but that's where you actually realize what actually America is. If you come to United States and you think that you go to New York, you're gonna learn Italian. There's so many Italian people,
Yeah.
and yeah, of course, you're gonna find the pasta, the spaghetti, like they make it at home. But when you come in the real deep inside of the country, that's what you're gonna find out. Spaghetti and meatball. I never had spaghetti and meatball grew up in my life. Now
Mhm.
they come over here, spaghetti and meatball. It's something that we need to have it because say
Yeah.
you want the spaghetti, I make you the spaghetti and meatball, but don't think I'm gonna eat it because it's not my type of food. That's everyday challenge. Okay, so a new thing. What are we gonna put them on the menu? All right, we need to figure it out. What we can put them on the menu, then people it's comfortable eating.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
that's the
also.
thing.
Yeah, it's survival somehow.
Yeah,
They have a different approach to everything regarding food. How do you balance between maintaining Italian traditions and surviving, you know, giving people, as you said, what they are comfortable eating?
yeah. At the level of my restaurant, there's nothing to invent anymore. Everything is already being invented. Okay. They already discovered the hot water. They already invented the wheel. The only thing that we have to do is use the hot water and use the wheel. Okay.
Hmm.
By saying
Agree.
that means then unless you are a Michelin star restaurant where the evolution of the food it's on a daily basis, you have to consistent create something different. Type of restaurant is the restaurant where you can find any recipe nowadays with the social media, with the internet. You can find recipe everywhere. So you like the recipe, you go in the kitchen, you copy the recipe, and you modify the recipe based on your taste, based on whatever you like it. Okay, so yes, we try to change the menu every 2 3 months. not completely, but we're gonna see whatever item we selling less, and we're gonna put a new one on it. Obviously, people, but everywhere, not just in the United States, every people, it's comfortable, or they are comfortable with what they know. Okay, so why pizza is so popular and it's so demanding? Because pizza is comfortable. Everybody knows what's in the pizza. They don't have to explore. The classic pizza is a tomato and mozzarella.
Right.
So you don't even have to ask any question. It's a tomato and mozzarella. So now you have the pizza. It's comfortable. People know what they're gonna have. So we have to put something. We change it. We put something on a menu, and let's see if it works or if it doesn't. If it doesn't work, we're gonna change it. It's not a big deal. We're gonna put something else. But we always keep on a menu. We know those items, then we know we sell it. In my type of restaurant, in the location where I am, my my turn, and now we go into some numbers. My turnover is 95%. So that means, then out of 100 guests that then I have, 95, they're always the same. I do have a people, then they come in my restaurant 2 to 3 times a week. People, then they come every week on a weekly basis. So I have to change the menu, until the point where they ask me, they don't even look at the menu anymore, but they're going to ask me what my special they are. Now, if I have to create every day a new special because my guests, they don't want to open the menu anymore because it's always the same. Now, first of all, it's my fault. Second of all, I'm losing money because I have to spend more money to create new dishes because I don't want to look at the menu. So I rather change the menu more often than create these specials. Of course, we always have some of the specials because you have to. One or two specials you always have it. But that's how you evolving. That's how you create new thing. If you go to a restaurant in New York, if you go to a restaurant in Miami where the turnover is vice versa, it's not anymore 95%. That turnover it becomes 2, 3%. So that means that every 100 guests, only two or three, they are repeat guests, and even those repeat guests, that means then that they are on vacation. You go to Miami, you go Miami, you go on vacation. You go no, it's very rare that you leave. New York City is the same thing. New York has how many millions visitors every year. They don't need to change the menu. They have new people every day coming in. So the spaghetti pomodoro, they're gonna be always on the menu. They're
Yeah.
always gonna be the same because you have this different people every day coming in.
Yeah. There's a
So
different target, a different, yeah, of course.
exactly. So that's one of the biggest challenge that I face, and most of the people and most of the restaurant, and they are in my area, they facing.
But
That's the
as they
main.
are day-to-day clients, so they come to you there, there's fidelity, there's trust. Do you ever take a step forward and maybe suggest them to try something that, as you said, you have some Italian traditional dishes and some comfortable foods. Do you ever try to push them in and sort of educate them,
Oh,
suggesting
every day, absolutely. You need to read the people that you have in front of you. I always used to say that when I was a waiter, I wasn't the greatest waiters, but I was the best. I was the greatest salesman that you can possibly imagine. That because I learned through the course of the year, through the experience, uh, I learn how read my table. I learn how read my guest. People ask me what you recommend. To me, a gate completely gets open. And now I'm going to sell you anything I want. That's why I was good, because I was listening when people was talking, and I was able to sell them or give them anything I wanted. And that it's food, that is wine, that's anything. But first, you need to listen what the guest is gonna what the guest is gonna ask, and then you need to be able to talk to them in a way that they understand, and you do something for them that is special. That's what I can do. That's what I cannot do. But this is, I just bought it. I'm the only one that he has it. And people do it. People buy it. Bistecca alla Fiorentina. Nobody has it. Nobody knows what it is around me. But I had it.
speaking about being a salesman in this
Yes.
sector. What would you suggest if someone came to you and said, "Listen, Emanuele, I want to open a restaurant in the US." What suggestion would you give this person?
Don't do it.
Don't do
Don't do it.
but I really want to do it. What should I do?
First of all, what's the budget? And second of all, what's your experience? Because don't forget, the restaurant business has the highest percentage of failure. And the reason why they fell is because there's a multiple reason. One is because whoever decide to open the restaurant, they have no idea. Second of
Hmm.
all, is bad management. And then you can go into the micro, looking under microscope what are the reason they are. You can't just open a restaurant because, oh, my mother, she left me all the recipe and let's open a restaurant. You can't open a restaurant just because you go to Miami and you see a restaurant and it's busy every night. The restaurant to be busy every night is because they do something. You need to find out what they're doing. And
Hmm.
then you also need to understand where you are. If I would do something over here than they do in Miami, probably would never work because my target, my demographic is not Miami, it's not New York. So that's why
So
when people
study where you are, like
you
what's
need
your
to study,
experience and
yeah,
where are you going to do this and
correct,
what's your target?
correct,
Because it's not the same. Plus, America is so big and so different. It's not like, as you said, in Europe, it's different. We are smaller. We have a certain mentality
correct.
towards, this industry, which is pretty much the same. So yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, actually, before concluding, what are the dishes that people appreciate the most between the comfortable foods one and the traditional ones?
Well, don't get me wrong. When I say comfortable food in my restaurant, there's no such a thing like a comfortable food. A comfortable food in United States, we means hamburgers, we means chicken fingers and French fries. I don't have that type
So
of
what do
food.
you specialize in?
Well, I do have a pasta on the menu. I do have meat. I do have a fish. I have a
Mhm.
steak on the menu. Uh, I have all kind of variety. I mean, if I have to tell you as far as pasta concerned, which one is my most selling pasta right now is probably the pappardelle al in English they call it with the short rib ragu al brasato. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If we talk about fish, probably the most selling that I have right now is the branzino.
All right.
Then I only have, as far as the steak concerned, I have a filet mignon. I'm planning on put something else on it. But see, my most selling items of is the veal. So I have the veal scallopine, I do the veal parmigiana, and I do the veal milanese. Now, what recently we didn't even put them on the menu. We sell it uh, by verbalizing, but we do have the veal chop. Then we do Milanese or we do Parmigiana. It's the veal chop, kind of half. It's thin pounded. It's gonna come out. It's a beast. It's
Mm-hmm.
huge,
Yeah.
and people love it. Oh yeah, people love it.
But it's
And
America, huge, and America are like,
yeah,
huge.
people love it. So they eat off. Then they're gonna take it home. We sell it for the fair price. So that's why it's um we sell it because it's not overpriced. All the price that I put on my menu, they're down to the science.
What about the origin of ingredients? Are you taking ingredients from Italian distributors?
Well, of course we do. I do. The meat, I'll be honest with you, for the meat, I prefer the Americans. As
Mm-hmm.
far as meat concerned, I prefer the American. As far as tomatoes, cheeses, and all that kind of stuff, yes, it's mostly Italian. Find some good Italian product is also expensive. It become expensive. If I want to sell it and I want to make money, I have to sell it. Imagine pay over $30 for a mozzarella and tomato. People were waiting for me outside of the restaurant. They shoot me in the leg.
So
If I
it's also always about where are you having your restaurant? What's your spot? Definitely.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I agree with you. If you go to New York, you can sell a tomato mozzarella for $35. Nobody questioning about it. But if I'm gonna sell a tomato mozzarella $35, again, they're gonna waiting for me. They're gonna beat me outside of the restaurant. To give it to the customer, then I know then they would appreciate it and I would sell it for a fair price. So I wouldn't lose money because I'm not in a business to lose money, but I wasn't even making millions. So I know that I can give that out Okay, and people they're gonna come back. Majority of my product they are from Italy. Yes.
To conclude, tell us
Yes.
again, where can we find you?
I'm locating in the smallest states of the Union. It's called Rhode Island. It's a very small state between uh, Connecticut and Massachusetts.
Mhm.
It's I'm a 3 hour north from New York, and I'm 1 hour south of Boston, in a town called North Kingstown. And my restaurant is one of the oldest diners. That means that I'm not a diner. The outside, it looks like a diners. I redid it inside as a fine dining restaurant. But the outside, if you look at the picture, it looks like a 1940 diners.
Oh,
That's what
so
it is.
so
Yeah.
a must visit, we'll say. And
Yeah,
what
sure.
are your opening hours? When can we visit
We
you?
are open 7 days. We are open 7 days a week, from noon to 9 o'clock, and Friday and Saturday it's noon to 10. And then Sunday we do brunch 11 to 3, and then from 3 we switch to dinner until 9.
Great. Thank you, Emanuele, very much for joining
My
us
pleasure. Thank you.
and sharing your story with us. Looking forward to see you again. And
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you again for transmitting
My
our
pleasure.
traditions in US.
All right. Thank you very much.